Let's head on over to my close friend, Mrs. Nalini Bhat, who will host a favorite segment of millions of our viewers. And that segment is called Prashanti.
Love is my form, truth is my breath, this is my food. Love is my form, truth is my breath, this is my food. Love is my form, truth is my breath, this is my food. Love is my form, truth is my breath.
We at Prashanti offer our humblest pranams at the most sacred lotus feet of Bhagwan Shri Satya Sai Baba. Welcome, brothers and sisters. This is Nalini. We are talking about the early devotees of Shri Baba, most of whom remained with him till their last breath. Today, let's take a holy dip in the vast ocean of Baba's eternal love with the experiences of two more devotees, Balapattabhi and Gummagutta Subbarao. Balapattabhi came to Baba in 1944. Fortunately for posterity, he kept a diary of his experiences with Shri Baba. In his book, Nectarine Leelas of Bhagwan Shri Satya Sai Baba, Balapattabhi narrates mind-boggling miracles of Baba that he witnessed firsthand. Balapattabhi visited Puttaparthi at the entreaties of his wife and her brother, who had seen Baba and were fascinated with him. He arrived in Puttaparthi most reluctantly. But the moment he set eyes on Shri Baba, his divine face with hands raised in benediction had an electrifying effect on Balapattabhi. Later, he, along with a few others, held a garland in his hand and waited his turn to garland Shri Baba. But Balapattabhi was in for a shock when Baba refused the garland he offered, saying, "You are against coming here. Why then have you come? I don't want your garland." Baba's omniscience gave Balapattabhi a big jolt. And what's more, Baba was smilingly allowing all others in the group to garland him. Balapattabhi's heart sank. He began to cry uncontrollably. Then the compassionate Lord came near Pattabhi, took the garland from his hands and put it around his neck himself. Baba further consoled Balapattabhi, pulling him closer like a mother affectionately embracing her child. Who could resist such outpouring of love?
Swami sends away everybody, catches Balapattabhi. Swami holds his hand firmly. Every now and then Swami says, "Don't worry Bangaru, I will take care of you." And then Swami materializes a talisman in gold, and it is strung not in a gold chain but in a twine which smeared with fresh turmeric. What is the other thing which we have usually made like this? It is the Mangal Sutra. Swami ties it around his neck and he falls at Swami's feet. He is crying. Swami says, "Don't worry, you have come to me, henceforth you are mine." It's almost like Swami typically performed a spiritual marriage.
The story of Gummagutta Subbarao, another great devotee, also is concerned with how Baba instilled faith in his heart and convinced him that Satya Sai Baba and Shirdi Sai Baba were the same.
This is Gummagutta Subbarao and his wife Tippamma. When Swami was studying in Bukkapatnam, she had visited at Lakshminarayana temple. She saw Swami was doing a worship. All the flowers, incense sticks, whatever he needed, he's just waving his hand and getting it out. She was simply spellbound. The daughters, they were all devotees of Shri Baba. Gummagutta Subbarao was a devotee of Radha Krishna. He did not like his daughters worshipping some Muslim saint. So one day he went and picked up the photograph of Shirdi Baba, just threw it out of the home and told his daughter that no way are you going to get that into the home. That very night he has a dream. And in his dream he sees Radha Krishna changing into Shirdi Baba and Shirdi Baba changing into Radha Krishna. He realizes that this Shirdi Baba is my dear Radha Krishna. When he wakes up next morning, he rummages through the ground, finds that photograph, cleans it, gets it and puts it back in the altar. So now he is accepting Shirdi Baba. Okay, the Shirdi Baba is my Radha Krishna. Now who is this chit of a boy? He is coming and telling he is Shirdi Baba. Wherever he was, the devotees would take him in a procession. So he said, see, I don't believe all this. If he is Shirdi Baba, now tomorrow during the procession, let him come into our home. Then I'll believe that he is Shirdi Baba. This was the challenge he put out. So next evening, Tippamma, she's praying, please stop near our home. So in Bukkapatnam, as he was going in the jeep, much to her great delight, exactly in front of her home, Swami stops the jeep, gets down, walks straight into the altar of Gummagutta Subbarao and says, today you have made these offerings for me, I came to accept them. And he eats that and gives a little as prasad. Gummagutta Subbarao is shivering, and in that ecstasy he just faints. He begins to shower love. His home becomes like Swami's home. In fact, many times when Swami would be driven out of Puttaparthi, late in the evening he would sneak out, walk across to Bukkapatnam, walk into the home of Gummagutta Subbarao. Swami, without disturbing Gummagutta Subbarao, gets into bed next to him and lies down. In the morning when Subbarao gets up, he sees, this little boy is lying. But Swami considered him one of his own. He knew he could take liberties.
Thank you for watching Prashanti. Jai Sai Ram.
Here to begin with is our beautiful hostess, Nalini Bhat, who is most admired for her segment called Prashanti.
Love is my form, truth is my breath, this is my food. Love is my form, truth is my breath, this is my food. Love is my form, truth is my breath, this is my food. Love is my form, truth is my breath.
We at Prashanti offer our humblest pranams at the most sacred lotus feet of Bhagwan Shri Satya Sai Baba. Welcome brothers and sisters, this is Nalini. We are learning about the year 1944 when Shri Baba was 18 years old. As we saw in previous segments, many people were drawn to him and they became his devotees. Among them, Shri Thirumal Rao played a very important role in Shri Baba's mission. Let's watch.
Thirumal Rao was a landlord. He owned prime property in Bangalore. By hobby, he was an horticulturalist. He loved to have beautiful gardens. We all know that Bangalore is called the Garden City, right? It's filled with gardens. His garden was so famous that Queen Elizabeth came to see his garden. So he was one of the people who visited Swami when he was in Anantapur at Chidambaraya's house. Swami goes to Bangalore and stays at the house of Thirumal Rao. Their son was born with one leg shorter than the other. Swami did ensure that he got some sort of a cure because he could walk on his own after that.
Thirumal Rao himself experienced a miraculous cure from a stomach ailment at the hands of Shri Baba later on. The doctors had given up hopes of saving his life, and his wife then brought him to Puttaparthi, thinking that if he has to die, rather than dying at the hands of the doctors, it's better to exit this world in Baba's presence. She completely surrendered to Baba. O Swami, with full faith in you, I have brought him to your lotus feet. Baba asked Thirumal Rao to sleep in Karanam Subbamma's house that night. Baba also was staying there. The next morning was the day that Prashanti Nilayam was to be inaugurated. Thirumal Rao woke up next day to find that his stomach ache had mysteriously disappeared. Little did he know that the divine doctor had cured his beloved devotee with a simple pat on his stomach while he slept. 1944 was an important year for the Sai mission. Bangalore was becoming the hub of Sai activities. The first major step towards spiritual regeneration of Shri Baba's devotees was the start of organized bhajan singing. Let's watch Mrs. Sucharita narrate how her mother Sundaramma and a few of her relatives started the bhajan singing when she was a small girl.
The main attraction for our group to go to Parthi on and on was bhajan. Bhajan, bhajan, bhajan. Nothing else. Now these bhajans those days were songs. We would sing, he would sing. It was wonderful. Our people coming away to Bangalore, till they went to Parthi next time there won't be any bhajan. They felt miserable. Said, why can't we have weekly bhajans in our own houses? So started 6 families by turns, bhajan. From 6 to 8 o'clock. It was a family involvement. The husbands had to come from the office, the children had to go from the schools, and these women would go from their houses, collect together, sing bhajans. After about 3 or 4 months, one of the ladies said, Sundaramma, why don't you come and do bhajan in our house? Because Swami liked my mother's song so much. She said, yeah, you can go. So these people went, bhajan over, returned. After 4 or 5 days, Swami had come to Bangalore. As usual, my mother went to have his darshan. He came at her glaring. Where had you been on Thursday? Why, Swami? I went for bhajan. No. I came to your house. Such a big lock was dangling on your door. I went to Subhadrama's, I went to Janakama's, I went to Lalitama's, I went to Sushilama's, I went to Jaidevama's, 6 families. All the houses had such big lock dangling. Where had you been, Swami? From today onwards, we will never go anywhere on Thursday. So these people analyze. If he comes and sees the lock on the door on a Thursday, if the door is open, he should come in for our Thursday bhajan. Simple analysis. If you can come and see the lock and go, why can't he come and enter the house also? But how do we know that he has come? They had the solution also. A flower will fall. So if the flower is to fall, to show his arrival, how should we sit for bhajan? Concentration. I had to see it personally, first hand. Sometimes only one petal would fall. One time only the flower would move. Like this he kept us so concentrated. Elders said children also should learn. So the last half an hour all we tiny tots would be allowed to sing bhajan. This went on and on. 1 year was getting over.
Bhajans play a prominent role in Bhagwan Baba's scheme of spiritual sadhana. Devotional singing in groups serves not only to concentrate the minds of the devotees on the divine, but also promotes a sense of spiritual unity and harmony among the devotees. Baba always said God is a lover of music, and hence one can please him easily with music.
That song in praise of God with all the melody makes everybody blissful. That's the reason why people sang the glory of God in music. With all the tunes and the beat made God happy. With music you can please God. The mere vocal expression, verbal expression will not please God. It should be music full of melody. That pleases God. The good music, the sweet words, the nectarine words, the beautiful music. God loves music. Some people may question those that do not know music, what is going to happen to them? Doesn't matter. You need not be experts in music. You can sing in your own way. It is only music that takes you to the proximity of the divine.
More next time. Thank you for watching Prashanti. Jai Sai Ram.
Let's hit the road with Prashanti. Prashanti will be hosted by a world famous artist, namely Mrs. Nalini Bhat.
Love is my form, truth is my breath, this is my food. Love is my form, truth is my breath, this is my food. Love is my form, truth is my breath, this is my food. Love is my form, truth is my breath.
We at Prashanti offer our humblest pranams at the most sacred lotus feet of Bhagwan Shri Satya Sai Baba. Welcome brothers and sisters, this is Nalini. Previously on Prashanti, we saw how the Bhajana Mandali started with a few families in Bangalore in 1944. After completing 1 full year without missing a single Thursday, they decided to celebrate the 1-year anniversary, which heralded the famous Akhanda Bhajan or continuous 24 hours bhajan singing for 1 whole day, 24 hours. Mrs. Geeta Ram Mohan, who was very close to Baba since her childhood, narrates the story of Akhanda Bhajans in her inimitable style. Let's watch.
After completing 1 year of the Thursday bhajans, these family members, let us do 24 hours Namasmarana. We will start on a Thursday and end on a Friday morning. They wrote a letter to my grand uncle, who had now become the personal attendant of Swami, saying that can you please ask Swami's permission. So my grand uncle was extremely excited. He told Swami they want to do 24 hours if you give permission. He said, very nice idea. You write a letter to them saying that we are also coming. So these are all middle class people staying in small houses in Bangalore. There is no place for him to sleep. We don't want him to come. If he blesses, that is enough. So they wrote back, we did not invite Swami. We don't have the ability to look after this Bhagwan. The Sunday before that Thursday, they received a telegram saying, we have already left. Now forget about him coming on Thursday through Friday. He is arriving on Sunday itself. So that is how the Lord arrived for the Akhanda Bhajan. And he came and said, Sundaramma, my aunt, where is the hall where you are going? What hall, Swami? There is no hall. What are you going to do about Prasadam? Thursday through Friday, we don't eat it. Friday, we are going to cook Pongal. And for that Pongal, because of this ration, every family has donated 2 kgs of rice, sugar or whatever it is. I said, Vittal Rao used to be in the police. Where do you think they should do? So he said, we have that police hall. They can do it there. They all went to look at the hall, including Swami, on Monday morning. What are you going to do for the photo? So my aunt was very good at talking to Swami. So Swami, why do we want photo? You only sit here. Then he said, no, maybe one black and white photo, because how can I sit for 24 hours? One black and white photo. Put it. Suddenly on Wednesday night, all sorts of people started to come to this hall while they are arranging the altar. So these people said, who are all of you people? This is a private function. They said, we are Sai devotees from Mysore. We are 30 of us. Swami came in the dream and told us there is a function. We don't have rice for our 29 people. 35 have arrived. Suddenly another 15. We have come from Madras. Swami came and sent word through somebody. Swami, what is this? I only told Sheshgir Rao's family is having very nice bhajan for one whole day. You all come. I had one aunt, and she used to look after Swami when he was a small child of 5 years. She was from Puttaparthi. She caught Swami's hand and said, Swami, now you have to look after our reputation. We only have this much of rice and sugar, and there is curfew. We can't go to the city to buy. What do you want us to do for tomorrow morning's prasadam? So don't worry, Sakamma. He materialized some rice grains and put it in the sack of that rice. You make prasadam, it will be enough for these people. 30 people, 24 hours, fasting, because they want to purify their mind and body of the desires for the food. Other than the desire for Swami's lotus feet, they didn't want anything. They did the bhajan and Swami sat there for 24 hours because he said, you have tied my feet and hands with your bhakti. I can't go anywhere even if I want to go. That is Akhanda Bhajan. They finished Akhanda Bhajan, started to distribute this sweet rice, and my mother to this day, she says that after 4 hours, their arms began to feel like it's going to fall off. All the villagers in the surrounding villages started to come. They served and served and served. And this Pongal is not getting over. And they are very traditional people. You don't throw away the prasadam. Finally, one of them fell at Swami's feet and said, please stop the increasing of food. We cannot serve anymore. And then Swami said, told you, don't doubt. You didn't believe me. Okay, now finish it and come. So that was the first Akhanda Bhajan, where just a few families started with the love of Swami, in which they were able to bring Swami. Even they told him, please don't come. He said, I will come, because I am not coming to your house, I am coming to your heart. By the time I started to attend the Akhanda Bhajans as a small child, there were innumerable Akhanda Bhajan stories like this. Every year, something miraculous like this would happen. The first Vibhuti Abhishekam in the pot that you see in the videos was done in this Akhanda Bhajan with an empty pot. After Swami did that, apparently he joked and said, I can do this in Puttaparthi also. So for Navaratri, he started to do on Vijayadashmi days.
After devotees had kept up this tradition of Akhanda Bhajans for 25 years, in 1970, Shri Baba declared, hereafter, Akhanda Bhajans will be performed all over the globe every year. That and more stories of Akhanda Bhajans in next episode. Thank you for watching Prashanti. Jai Sai Ram.